I'm Vasel. Welcome to Look Back. This is a series we do here in the Dice Tower where I take a look at reviews that I did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago, and I tell you what I think about these games now, if I think about them at all. So let's take a look at a year ago. I reviewed Donut Dash. This is a very, very, very indie game. I think it could definitely have benefited from some better publishing about moving around, getting donuts. Some very fun ideas here, just missing a little bit of maybe development. 6 out of 10. Trails. I know everyone likes Trails, the smaller version of Parks. I also like it. It's a nice back and forth movement, collecting resources. A decently good game. 7 out of 10. Me and the kids reviewed a couple dungeon crawlers, roll and write. So first we had Doodle Dungeon, where you actually draw pictures and make a dungeon that someone else will go through. That was a lot of fun, 7 out of 10. And Paper Dungeons, a dungeon scroller game. This one is more involved, and in fact, even though I'm rating them both 7s, I think I like Paper Dungeons a little bit more. Doodle Dungeons is more thematic. Paper Dungeons is more about moving through and checking off boxes and scoring points in almost a point salad-y type way. But I think they're both fun, and they're different enough. They don't really compete with each other. Juicy Fruits. I gave this one a 7.5. I love the idea of sliding these tokens around on the board, and the farther you slide them is how many resources, fruit tokens, you get. You then use these fruit tokens to get ice cream and to complete contracts, which makes the board bigger so you can move the tokens even farther or get special tokens. A neat game that I wonder if this one will fall off the zeitgeist, but I think it's one worth checking out. It's a good game if you're like, we're in the mood to play something fun and interesting. Mining Colony, an 8 out of 10 for this game from this company which has made so many cool little games. Dr. Finn, I'm talking about. And sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're amazing. And I think Mining Colony gets closer to amazing. It's pretty surprising because it doesn't look like much. It doesn't even sound like much when you teach it, but it has a really fun drafting mechanism in it. Super Mega Lucky Box, kind of a funny name, a roll and write or a flip and write. It's almost like if you like bingo and you want to play a roll and write game, this is the one for you. I think it works really well, especially for new players. And Meadow. This, a 9 out of 10. Meadow, of course, being a fantastic game. We just talked about it in our top 10 nature games. It made the top list there. The beautiful art, but it's not just that. It's an excellent game and very thematic as you build this meadow in front of you. 5 years ago, I took a look at Pillars of Eternity, Lord of the Eastern Reach, which, man, I like Pillars of Eternity, the video game. This game is straight up bad. It's definitely a cash grab, 4 out of 10. Dream Islands, you're moving tourists around on a board. That's fine, 6 out of 10. Quick Cups. You know, Quick Cups, the whole idea of stacking cups and grabbing things. This is definitely it's almost like an Olympic event for some young people. And this is kind of that in a board game. It's fine, 6 out of 10. High Tide. This is from Queen Games about getting the best spots on the beach. This one I dropped from a 7 to a 6 because I realized I haven't even really wanted to play it in the past. Not because it's bad, because I look at it and go, it's fine. I like the theme a lot, but there's a lot of other Queen games I'd rather play. Monopoly Gamer, 6.5, almost makes it here. It has the little Monopoly characters, the little Mario characters, moving around the board, and it's really not Monopoly. Just kind of roll, get coins, do things. It's fine. It works for kids. Of course, the quality's terrible because it's Hasbro, but it was better than I expected. Wizards Academy. This is a cooperative game about moving around an academy, and you have these different characters. It's pretty neat. I originally gave it a 7.5. They just dropped it to a 7, if only because there are so many cooperative games that came out over the past year. This one doesn't stand out as much, but it does have some interesting concepts in it. World Championship Russian Roulette. Roulette. This is a theme that's not going to appeal to anyone. The game itself isn't bad. I kind of give a lot of caution on the theme. But for gameplay, 7 out of 10. Flick 'em Up, Dead of Winter. I had forgotten this game existed. It's only been 5 years. Still gets a 7. Now, I love Flick 'em Up, a Western game. Flick 'em Up, Dead of Winter has a zombie tower, which is fun. And there's some neat ideas in it. I think Flick 'em Up is a better game, though. So even though this one's fine, I would not pick it over the other one. Codenames Duet. This is a two-player version of Codenames. Very different. It's a cooperative game. I don't like it as much as Codenames, but it's a nice change of pace when you have two players. Zoo Ball, another flicking game from Osprey, just trying to score points. It's very, very simple, but I like it. 7 out of 10. Summit. Well, I'm sure that if you watched Trey Parker do his top 10 on our channel, he probably gives this one a 10. I don't like it that much. I give it a 7.5, and a 7.5 is only for the cooperative version of the game. I don't understand the competitive version of this game. The cooperative one is where it works as you are climbing a mountain and coming down together. Sure Look. This is from Simon. For a while they were making small little games. This one is just flip over cards. You're looking for the difference, essentially. A little bit more than that, but not much more. 8 out of 10. Rocky Road a la mode. Another 8 out of 10. It's a little tiny game from Green Couch where you just drive a little ice cream truck around, which I like that theme, and a pickup and delivery. But it's nice and compact and just works really well. And then finally, Indulgence. One of my favorite trick-taking games. I dinged it just a bit from a 9 to an 8.5. Still really like the game. There's a couple other trick-taking games that have come out recently that have moved into a higher spot, one of them being The Crew. But Indulgence lets me shoot the moon and is still a fantastic game. 10 years ago, here's the games I reviewed. Nocturna. It's a very, very forgettable game. I'm not going to talk much about it. I gave it a 4 out of 10. TrapX. This is a abstract strategy. In fact, there's a lot of abstract strategies from the same company you'll see on this list now. This is dots and boxes. It's a fun, maybe getting to play on paper, but it didn't work very well. 5 out of 10. Quadify. Build a block here. Don't go out of bounds of the block. 5.5. Lyson. This is a game I played, a dudes on a map style game. And I gave it a 7. I'm dropping it to a 6 now, again, because so many better games have come out in the past 10 years. Hexover, another abstract game, trying to get 5 in a row, 6 out of 10. Abaddon, this is an abstract game. This is essentially the same game as Pop It, very popular right now, where you pop those bubbles, and basically you can pop as many as you want, or 1, 2, 3 from a row, and the first person to force the other person to pop the last one in a row wins. This is the same thing, but with an abacus. It's okay. 6 out of 10, but these games are solvable. Eternus, this is my favorite looking of these abstract games because it's basically Connect 4, but the things are in a circle. You're dropping them, so seeing the diagonals is a little bit more confusing. Empire Express, I gave this one a 7. This is a smaller version of the Empire Railroad system, the Cran Rail system. It still isn't great components, but it's a shorter version if you want to play it. Pathagon, this is the best of those abstract games. You're trying to make traps and paths, although I will say that it's ranked very, very lowly on Board Game Geek. I was looking at the ratings. I'm easily one of the higher ratings here. Dungeon Command, I gave this one a 7. Man, I wish this is one of those games that Wizards of the Coast made and never really followed through on it, because you could use the figures from this in the Wrath of Ashardlan and Castle Ravenloft game series, but it was like a tactical 2-player thing. There just needed to be more of it. They made, I think, 3, maybe 4 sets of it, and that was it. It's good, but there are so many tactical games out there. Catan Geographies Germany. 7.5. I like this version. It's probably my favorite version of Catan. Beautiful buildings, very simple, roll dice like Catan, but on a built map, but you're also trying to build these different structures. It's both historical, educational, and fun. Gangsta, an 8 out of 10. Gangsta is a trick-taking game that has a bit of a grid. When you win tricks, you're putting cards down in the grid and trying to make combos to score points. I really like this one. I wish someone would reprint it. 1812, Invasion of Canada. 10 years now for Academy Games. This was the first in this series of cubes and dice, and I think it works really well. 8 out of 10. And then Colosseum, 10 years ago. This one goes from an 8.5 up to a 9. I love Colosseum. The idea of putting shows on, it still works today. I played it a couple times this year already. I don't do that many games from 10 years ago, so Colosseum definitely is high in my ranking. I love the theme. I love the fact that it plays 5 players very well. Many of these games do not, so definitely worth checking out. All right, well, those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Look Back on the Dice Tower. Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and I'm straight up gangsta.